To you by Dan Deary, proudly serving the Cedar Valley for 3 generations.
The 2025-2026 wrestling season is in the books. We're here to recap it with head coach Doug Schwab in the Panther wrestling room. Last year, a ton of points, graduated. So talk about as we reflect on this year, when did this team find its identity and some of the challenges as it felt like every duel, a different lineup came out for the Panthers as you had dealt with some adversity?
Yeah, I think Kevin and other guys, certainly step up if you have an injury. Unfortunately we had some injuries, and that's part of college athletics, right? So you have to roll with it, and I thought we had people step up, especially in some dual settings, and had some really great dual wins. There's a little bit of void when you do have a senior class like we did, and you gave guys opportunity to step up, and for me, I got to help coach them and bring them along a little bit more too. But I thought guys did, and we had 2 round of 12 guys, which that tells me you're one position away from being on the stand. No, I don't know. I was proud of how we handled this year, and again, how guys continue to step up no matter what happened. I guess that's part of being a UNI wrestling. And part of our fabric of our culture is to be gritty and selfless, and those guys demonstrated that all year.
Let's turn the calendar all the way back to November 15th and a big dual victory. The score was 26-8 over number 12 Cornell, and then a narrow loss to number 9 Minnesota. How big was that weekend in Tulsa?
Well, those NWs or the duels, the first year of them, I think we're like, oh man, we got a pretty dang good team, I think Corey Land had a huge win, beating defending All-American, and showed like, oh, okay, I'm one of the best guys in the country. And you get to see, a guy like Volker who had moved up to heavyweight, and we had Tank in the lineup, had a big win. CJ had a big win down there against a top 20 guy. So you start to see the pieces kind of fall into place. Of like, oh man, we're gonna have a hell of a team, And then certainly things happen throughout the year, but I thought it was a good start to our season, and like, man, we have a really good team. So if I go back, we were supposed to have a competition before that, and we flew all the way to Charlotte, and then we had to just come right back home. So that was our first matches. I think we showed that we can wrestle with, I think about the NC State duel a little bit. Like, we lost a ton of close matches, so I think there was a lot to build off of from that, and then I thought we started to use that moving forward.
You finally got some home duels in, and the score, NDSU 27-11, November 23rd. Number 14, Missouri. You've had some great matchups with them over the years. December 14th, you beat them 22-14. Fun to have duels in the McLeod, and those were a couple of real memorable ones.
Yeah, I think I thought we wrestled very well against Missouri. I look at again, go back to Wyatt and just get a second, a third, or fourth takedown, getting bonus points. But just up and down the lineup, every guy, man to a man, scrapped his tail off. And when you do that, I think it's a great thing. And McLeod Center has become, to me, one of the best venues to watch wrestling. And I said that, the other night, like, I want to make it one of the best. It's like a bucket list, like the West Gym used to be. Well, we got to go to the McLeod Center to watch a wrestling match, and how we compete dictates that a lot of it. And I can tell you that the schedule that we'll have next year, you're going to want to get your season tickets.
When do we find out about that?
I can talk about it. I can talk about who we're supposed to have from a Big 12 perspective. Coming back to us with Iowa State and Oklahoma State. Just those alone. Nebraska's coming back to us. So that's already a hell of a home schedule.
Well, we still need to talk a little bit about this year before we look ahead. A comment about how big the January 10th NWCAA national duels were, and how emotional that was, especially beating South Dakota State down at the wire.
Well, I think, a guy like Max Brady, how he stepped up for his team. Corey got dinged up, and he beat a top 10 guy, and just kind of get on my back, get on my shoulders. I'll step up for the team, and Aronson had a huge win to seal that duel, and I just think as a team that I feel like we really jumped from that duel. Like, oh man, like that's a huge win for us, and just gave us some momentum moving forward.
Fun to do it in the Dome, and fun
absolutely.
to kick off the year with that. We'll have more with Coach Schwab as we recap this great year here on Panther Sports Talk.